Imagine this, you're scrolling through Instagram and there it is, that friend who's always jetting off to stunning beaches or breathtaking mountains. And you're sitting there thinking, wow, must be nice, I could never pull that off. But here's a little secret no one tells you. Those photos don't show the full picture. Behind every postcard perfect shot is a story of swollen legs, questionable airplane meals, and a whole lot of unglamorous chaos. And trust me, I've been there. Today, I'm sharing the real side of travel, the challenges nobody talks about, and more importantly, how to handle them so you can make the most of your adventures. Whether it's surviving a 15-hour flight or dealing with travel burnout, I've got tips, stories, and maybe a few laughs to help you feel ready for your next trip. Let's dive in. Let's start with the big one, long flights. My first flight to Bali was a whopping 15 hours with a layover in Amsterdam. By hour 8, I was convinced I'd become a permanent part of the seat. And don't even get me started on the leg swelling. But here's what saved me. Number 1, hydration. Picture me, the overprepared traveler with a giant water bottle and a protein smoothie in my carry-on. Why? Because those tiny airplane cups don't cut it, and airplane food, let's just say I wasn't about to gamble on that. Number 2, compression stockings. I skipped them once and no joke, my legs looked like balloons. On the way back, I wore them religiously and voila, no swelling. Lesson learned. Number 3, comfort hacks. A neck pillow is a non-negotiable. I also roll up a scarf for lumbar support because not all airplane seats are created equal. And my secret weapon, a big cozy scarf that doubles as a blanket. Instant comfort. Another tip is entertainment prep. I'll admit it, I once got stuck on a flight with a dead phone and no downloads, and the entertainment system wasn't working, so never again. Now I load up on podcasts, audiobooks, and playlists like my life depends on it. I would put number 5 as the sleeping mask, and some people also prefer to grab the earplugs. That's a really useful hack if you want to enjoy some snoozing during your flight. So by the time I landed in Bali, I wasn't exactly fresh as a daisy, but I wasn't a wreck either. Long flights don't have to be a torture. Just a little prep goes a long way. And once you're off the plane, the real fun begins, but so do the food challenges. Let's talk about how to survive those, shall we? Here's a funny story. I love Thai food, like obsessed, but by day 3 in Thailand, I hit a wall. I found myself at a random pizza place eating a margarita pizza like it was the best meal of my life. Here's what I learned about keeping your meals interesting while traveling. Number 1, switch it up. No shame in craving something familiar. I googled best international foods near me and found a tiny cafe serving the best pancakes I've ever had. Number 2, stock up on fresh fruit. I quickly realized that salads weren't an option in many places, so fruit became my go-to, although of course be careful not to overdo it on the sugar side. Bonus, it's refreshing and hydrating. Number 3, protein hacks. I always pack a stash of protein bars and jerky. They're not gourmet exactly, but they save me from carb overload more times than I could count. Next is mindset shift. I felt sometimes a bit awful because I ate so much carbs and the foods were so much more salty, and sometimes there was a lot of fat in it that wasn't really my typical diet. So I told myself, this isn't forever. It's okay if your diet isn't perfect while traveling. The important thing is to enjoy the experience, and you can reset when you're home. But as much as I loved the food and the occasional pizza, there was one challenge I wasn't ready for: the sheer exhaustion of trying to do everything. Let's talk about travel burnout. Have you ever gone on a trip that felt like a marathon? You're racing from one activity to the next, and by the end of the day, you were just too tired to enjoy anything. Yeah, that was me on my first group tour. After day 2, I realized I couldn't keep up, so here's what I did differently. First, plan for downtime. I started building in free days where I could. just to chill at the hotel, or read, or explore at my own pace. It made such a difference. Be flexible. One day I skipped a temple tour and spent the morning sipping coffee by the pool. It felt indulgent but totally necessary. Next, sleep essentials. I always pack a good sleep mask and noise-canceling headphones. I know I mentioned this before, but this is such an important pearl. I'm gonna talk about this here. Whether it is a nap on a bus or a full night's sleep, these are lifesavers. So by the end of the trip, I felt like I've cracked the code. Slow down, pick what matters most, and don't be afraid to say no to that 6 a.m. hike. And speaking of things not going as planned, let's talk about the unexpected surprises that can make or break a trip. Imagine this, you arrive at your hotel only to find out they've double booked your room. Or worse, it starts raining on the day you planned to visit the beach. Been there, done that. Here is how I learned to roll with the punches. Reframe the experience. When my plans got rained out, I ended up chatting with locals at the cafe. It turned out this was one of the most memorable afternoons of my trip. Be prepared. I always purchase travel insurance and carry a first aid kit. I know it's not glamorous, but it gives me that peace of mind. And finally, find the humor. Like the time I got completely lost in Bali and ended up having dinner with strangers. It wasn't in the itinerary, but it was the best night on the trip. So yes, travel is unpredictable, but honestly, that's half of the fun. Let's wrap up with why these challenges are actually what make travel so worth it. So here's the thing, travel isn't about perfection. It's about the stories, the good, the bad, and the hilarious. Those swollen legs, rainy days, the surprise dinners with strangers, they are the moments you will remember. So what's holding you back from your next adventure? Write it down, then ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen? You'll probably find that the fear is smaller than you think. And if you've got a funny travel story or a hack that's saved your trip, share it in the comments. Let's make travel less intimidating and way more fun. Until next time, happy exploring. Thank you for watching and may you be well. See you in the next video.